Hi, everyone. My name is Matt Haynes. I'm a teacher of narration and an audiobook narrator.
And I'm Trenton Bennett, and I'm also an audiobook narrator.
And we are here to give you some thoughts on the process of narration that you might find helpful, whether you're narration curious, whether you're a beginning narrator, whether you're a medium narrator, or whether you're a well done narrator. Um,
Well done.
well done, sir. Well done. Um, we are just here to give some thoughts on this. Usually when we are prepping these videos, we just think about, okay, well, what's some stuff that's been good for us to keep in mind, and thus a topic forms. Today's topic is taking some of the what I'll call narrator successful narrator mystique out of the successful narrator. What do I mean by that? Well, what I mean is, Trent, I don't know if you had this idea too when you were starting narration, and I think to a certain extent I still have it, which is, okay, one day when I am truly the biggest of the big leagues narrators, I will have flawless delivery. I will have no struggles. I will be constantly getting gigs from big studios. And what that actually entails is me being taken to the studio and waltzed into a recording booth with a cup of tea and a music stand. And that will be my lifestyle all the time. And I will simply just always have the work waiting for me, and I will get to have top pick of the projects.
The valet handles my punch and roll.
Yes, yes, before we roll, as it were. Um, before we roll out of the studio. So yeah, that is, those days are, if they ever existed, those days are mostly over for almost everybody. And I just want to share some of what my kryptonite is and what my clunkies are, so that you all can learn about what actually goes into this stuff. Trent, I'm just going to talk a little bit more because I'm excited about this
Sure.
topic. But there's a movie, Kurt Russell and Goldie Hawn, called Overboard, and it came out in the late '80s. And they um, husband and wife, they start a mini golf landscape. They start a mini golf. What do you call it? Anyway, so a mini
Course.
golf course. Yes, that's it. um, so there's all this really impressive stuff, like the golf balls coming out of like the mouth of a sphinx, and I think it was a world wonders themed type of thing. But what you see behind it is their startup mechanisms, which are like plastic sandbox pails, and like Tinker Toy gears and all that sort of thing, because they're just starting up. They're just putting this all together on the fly, right? I feel like that's true in so many industries which have a polished front. There is this, it's all being held together with plastic, sandbox pails and some scotch tape and bubble gum. But nobody really needs to know that because it does function the way it functions. Um, Trenton, if people were to see, the day-to-day recording process of Trenton Bennett, what might they be surprised to learn about what he has in common with them?
Well, I will say that's quite a different step from the days of folks being chauffeured into the studio. Um, but I think perhaps part of it would simply be that, and I say this only because we've talked before about how it's unhealthy to play the comparison game because your journey isn't someone
Mm,
else's.
hmm.
Folks might be surprised that I do actually make quite a number of mistakes and pickups. And sometimes when you're watching someone else narrate, you're thinking, why did he slip up on that? Well, I don't know. Your brain does things, and sometimes it hits a speed bump because you didn't expect that speed bump was there. So they might see me stopping and restarting, whereas the end product they get is this nice, neat flow.
Hmm. Um,
And I say
What
that more so. We all know there's some pickups, but there's a lot of people who I could goof something 8 or 9 times in a row and I'm going, why am I goofing it? Well, because the more cranky I get, the more goofy I get, I guess.
Right, the vicious spiral, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. For me, there's there's a number of things. If I've just eaten and I'm starting on the first chapters of a new project, I get nervous, and so my stomach starts growling. And then I sometimes give my editing assistant. By the way, I have an editing assistant. That's a luxury, but before that, I was doing all my own editing, and it was fine. But uh I say to my editing assistant, there's going to be a lot of stomach noise in the first 30 minutes of this. Whatever you can do to erase it or just make it lower, please. Thank you. um and by the way, I just want to give a shout out to my editing assistant, David Bell. He's awesome. Don't give him work because I want him to myself, but anyway. So
Hi,
uh
David. Don't
yeah,
steal David.
I get I get a rumbly stomach. I sometimes will space out and need to and that's all the time when I mess up. I start to space out. Um and there are days when I just don't want to go into the studio, and when I feel discouraged, I'm like, yeah, maybe it'd be better to just stop this right now and come back to it fresh tomorrow. But I've got a deadline. Okay, let's do it. The results are still what satisfied clients and satisfied listeners hear. So there's that. I also want to give just one other set of gritty details. Folks, my studio is a room in the back of a garage. And I have housemates. I love my home. It's a beautiful home. It's an intentional community where we it's a very classy setup. But I do have housemates. I have to negotiate my studio hours based on when people are up and about. I the back room in the garage does not have its own heating, so I bring my little space heater there. And if you folks have seen me bundled up with the winter background, guess where I
Not Florida.
am. um, and certainly not in the slick studio. By the way, everybody, Trenton is in Florida. So
Yes.
um Yeah, so all these things, and it's often the journey to the studio that I dread. Once I'm in there, it's better and better and better. But this is all the stuff. Um, and
And
Trenton,
if I can add a little bit of that, I mean,
please,
there's
please.
the whole thing about it is we want to understand that sometimes we get this vision that other people make it look so easy. Our
Hmm.
professionals that we admire and we look up to, the people who mentored us to get where we are, we're like, oh my gosh, I bet they just get in there and they just knock that out and it's easy. But none of us can tell the neighbors that they're not allowed to mow their yard because right now
Right.
is an important chapter. None of us can stop the airport flight schedule because now's really not a good time. There's all these things that we have to take into consideration. All of us have to audition. Even if you have an agent, you don't just sit back and wait for the agent to give you the work. You go, okay, great. I have another person auditioning alongside or getting me auditions alongside me to increase the possibility that I'm going to land something.
Absolutely. Let's remember also, folks, that this extends into the TV and film world. William Shatner in his memoir talked about how the reason why he's so busy all the time with all these things, even though one would think, well, it's William Shatner. He's like, because I'm terrified I'm not going to get work if I stop. Um, so yeah, it's all plastic pails and tinker toys and all that sort of thing, and it is wonderful. And if you really love narrating, then embrace the fact that that is part of what you do. And if you don't love doing that, okay, well, there might be some steps that you can take to make yourself more comfortable, or you can just think, well, maybe narration isn't quite what you love. What do you dream a lifestyle being, and then create that as part of that. Find a career track that really does cater to that. Maybe you are a set dresser of a professional studio on a of a professional recording studio or something like that. Anyway,
But one
uh,
point behind that is when you have something that you truly love and you're excited to be able to do that job, you may not be excited every single day.
mm, right,
Everyone gets that. No matter how successful, no matter how much they love audiobooks, they're going to have days where they're just not happy and they're like, I don't really want to narrate today. I just don't. It happens. It's okay. It's not
right.
you, it's everybody, all of
Oh,
us.
I like that. It's not you. It's everybody. Yeah. All right. Well, everybody, thank you so much for joining us. I'm Matt Haynes,
And I'm Trenton Bennett.
and as your narrators and teachers of narration, I hope that our voices and your ears meet again real soon.
Thanks, everybody.
My stomach just growled. Bye, everybody.
Good timing.